What's up, watch fans? Peter von Panda here. Hey, as you can see, I just bought a new watch. I'm excited to check this out. You can see who it's from. And let me just tell you one thing as I'm unboxing it here. This is Mayur London. It's a brand new company, a micro watch company, and it comes in this cardboard box. And let me tell you that this company is basically brand new. October 2015 is when it was founded. And so, as you can see, it hasn't been around for more than 6 months. Didn't even know about them until a week ago. And now I own one. So, comes in this nice little box. And here is the watch that I got. And let me tell you a little bit about it and why I'm kind of intrigued by these small watch companies. First of all, this little watch box here, and you get a warranty card, Mayur London. Cool, your luxury timepiece, indeed. In fact, that's the watch I got there. This one is actually from London, United Kingdom, Great Britain, England. And this one is, let me tell you what it's called. It's their flagship model. It's the Regal Model. It's the blue dial, and man, there's all sorts of things to talk about. But let me tell you why I got it and why I'm intrigued by these companies. Label here, so for authenticity. These small micro watch brands are really cool, and I like supporting them because, one of the things that has been kind of frustrating to watch owners for a long time is that, there's really been a handful of big companies that make a lot of watches. They make a lot of designs, but they don't necessarily make every design for every person. You might like a design, but maybe you can't afford the movement or the materials, and then you can't find that design in a watch that you like. And so what Mayur, I'm going to just call him Mayur because Mayur, I don't know, it doesn't roll off my tongue quite as well. But Mayur is kind of like Detroit Watch Company or Shinola or and a lot of these companies that are in Kickstarter, eGuard and all sorts of other watch companies out there that are really kind of making cool, interesting designs, kind of manifesting the vision of the owners and the designers, and kind of filling lots of gaps in the watch spectrum. And so as a consumer, it's great for you because now you can really find a watch design that you like. You can find it from a brand that may not be the Timex Seiko. A friend of mine wanted a decent watch at the $100 price point, but didn't want a Timex or Seiko. Jeremy is his name. And so I helped kind of turn them on to some brands that maybe you wouldn't see a lot. So people just want that individuality, but they want a lot of style. They want a lot of function, and they don't want to drop a ton of money. I'm one of those guys. Sometimes I drop some money on watches, and, it can be frustrating, especially if, when there's a lot of watches that pack a lot of better value. So Mayur is not unique in that regard, that in some ways I think it's passion and frustration. So Sam and James are the proprietors of this company, and I don't know how they originally got their start doing this, but they do have a couple lines of watches, and this is the one that I really dug. So as you know, I like blue dial watches, and this one is a blue dial. In the picture or in the video here, I can tell you it maybe looks a little purplish. When I'm looking at it in person, it doesn't quite have that purple tinge because of because of the way the light is refracting. It definitely looks more navy blue. Okay, so kind of keep that in mind if you're like, it looks like purple, and you're not a Northwestern Wildcats fan, which I am. If we're a little more purple, I actually wouldn't have a problem with that. But the first thing that's jumping out at me is the dial itself. You can see it here, and you can see there's this kind of, I don't know how you describe it, kind of this sloped outer edge, kind of this outer chapter ring. Is there anything on this crystal that I need to take off? No, I guess not. And so instead of just a flat dial sitting on top of a movement, it actually looks like the outer edge kind of falls off. So it's a little bit of a plateau, a little bit of a mesa. And I can't tell if it's just an optical illusion or if it's really the dial is pressed like that. I guess it is. I thought maybe it's just the way the crystal is formed. But it really, I think it is pressed in kind of that three-dimensional. It's really kind of unique. I can't think of another watch off the top of my head that does something like that. A lot of times when people are trying to add depth, they add kind of an outer bezel underneath the crystal that kind of slopes outwards. But this is kind of doing the reverse. It's bringing the center of the dial up towards you. Then it has applied silver hour markers, 2 in the 9, 3, 6, and noon position, doubled up, and then individuals here, and then painted on. I'll try to focus that for you a little bit better. So applied markers that have a little kick up, as you can kind of see. So they follow that contour. White individual minute markings painted on there, and then the Mayur logo and name right on the face there. Again, kind of like that. The Shinola Runwells. This one has a remote subdial, 4 seconds. As you can see there, it's ticking. And it has 60 seconds marked, and there's a little bit of texture, those concentric rings on the movie second hands, underneath the second hand. And the color is the same as the dial, but the texture gives it just a little bit of a different sheen. It's really cool because as I kind of dance the light off the face here, you can see that the way they polish it or the way the metal is brushed, it gives you just a little bit of that kind of that record player effect, a little bit of iridescence there. So really cool. I mean, it's a good looking watch. Date window there, and then long straight hour and minute hands. Now we'll see. I'll go ahead and see if there's any luminescence there, and if there is, you'll probably be able to see it here. It doesn't look like there would be any on the hour markers, but it's possible. There is a white fill on the hour and the minute hand itself. Now, the other thing I'll throw out there is that it's a quartz movement, and I don't know where they sourced it, but I believe it is a Japanese movement. So my guess is it's a Miyota movement. The Miyota quartz movements are pretty ubiquitous, and they're very reliable. You can see here, it's not a screw down crown. I just pulled it out to the first position, and you can adjust the time. Does not seem to be a second position, so I'm guessing you roll over midnight there to change the date. So there we go. Get the Mayur right in the middle there. Snaps in pretty positively. The case itself is stainless steel, it appears to be. Very finely polished. You know, it's polished all the way around, highly reflective. You can see me, hey, what up? And then a kind of a deep sloping bezel right around here. Now, what's interesting is this bezel cut is almost like 45 degrees. And I'll kind of use the background here. But you can see that the crystal itself is very thick. This is actually a pretty unique feature of this watch. I don't know that the crystal, it gives me a crystal depth, but there is a little bit of contour to the top. I don't know if I can illustrate that a little bit better. So it's a little bit of a dome. So you can see kind of the crown of it right there. So there's a little bit of curvature, but then you've got this very thick cut to the crystal that matches the outer bezel here. So in a lot of ways, it's kind of like, you know, a magnifying glass. I really like thick crystals. You may say why. You know, there's a little bit of a trade-off with thick crystals. One, you don't have metal protecting the crystal. So in this case, my assumption is it's a hardened mineral crystal. Let's see if I can get you that info. Let's call it a hardened mineral crystal. And so if you do hit it against things, as you're wearing it on your wrist and you brush up against stuff, you can chip these crystals. Now, this is pretty unique crystal, so I don't know where you can get them from, but I'm sure you could order it and have your watch repair guy install a new one. But a lot of crystals are going to be thinner and less curvy. You know, in a lot of cases, mineral crystals are flat, but it's really cool. It gives you a little bit of a prism-like. You know, I'm getting a little kind of green and the various colors in the crystal there. So it's kind of a nice touch. It also gives you some kind of weird optics. Not weird in a bad way, but it actually might be kind of a double curve because you're not really getting super bad distortion. You are around the edges, but it almost kind of focuses or magnifies it a little bit for you. But really nicely done. And I'm gonna save the price for you to the end on this watch because I think that's kind of one of the best things. But it's really polished all the way around. Well, let's even look at the back. You know, even the back cover, which just looks like a press-on backing, is polished on. It has the Mayur stainless steel back is laser etched with the Mayur logo. There's a little swimming guy in there, so 3 atmospheres water resistant, which isn't very water resistant, so don't go swimming with it. You know, just all around, it's pretty nice. And I think one of the nice things about that I like about thick crystals that I was saying is it gives the watches pretty nice heft. Now, this is not a heavy watch, and I'm going to tell you that for the size, it's not a heavy watch. This watch is, and the Regal model is a 46 millimeter wide case, okay? The case depth, it says, is 10 millimeters, so it's a centimeter thick. So this is not the world's smallest watch. And let me go ahead and throw it on here. But it doesn't feel as heavy as a lot of 46, 47 millimeter watches to me do. I wear a lot of 46, 47 millimeters. It's a size that I really, really dig because on my 7.5 inch wrist, they look large enough, but they don't look too big or goofy looking. You know, you can really get into some of the big diesels, which I have too, 50 millimeters or larger, and they're kind of more of a fashion statement. It's kind of like you're playing a, you know, NFL player kind of style. But this watch is right in the sweet spot. 46 millimeters. It looks good, but isn't overpowering. It's bold enough, and it doesn't look like you're wearing kind of an old dated watch. But it has a minimalist style that I really like. It's simple in its design. I wouldn't call it simplistic, but I call it simple and clean and elegant, and yet modern. You know, I don't look at this watch and say, "Oh, did your father give this to you? You know, was this a watch he bought in the '80s?" You know, it still oozes modern, and I think because of a little bit of the oversized proportions on some of the things, like 46 millimeters is pretty large. The really thick crystal phenomenon is kind of a recent trend, and you know, no one's heard of Mayur because no one's had them. Now there is a leather watch band on it. This one is in black. It's kind of this kind of semi-gloss leather. The strap width is 20 millimeters. Genuine leather. It's very nice. It's very soft. You know, there's no stitching or anything like that, so it's very elegant. And as you can see on my wrist here, you know, it has a lot of classic lines, a lot of classic look. I really like this. And I expect this to hold up pretty well. You could certainly put any 20 millimeter watch band on here, the spring bars, classic good looks here. You know, this watch actually, to me, even the case style looks a lot like the Tag Heuers, and I want to say like the Carrera line. So it's very similar, but the benefit of kind of going with a small brand like this is, one, it's unique. No one else is going to look at that and say, "Oh, it's a Timex. Oh, it's a Casio. It's a Seiko." You know, they might ask you. Watch guys might say, "What's Mayur?" You know, and you're going to have this fashion brand from London, good old London. I love London. I love England, and Bentleys and Rolls Royces and Minis and Heelys and King Digital. Booyah! So you know, it's cool and it's unique. They also have a few other styles, so you can get them in different colors and a couple of different collections. I definitely check it out. You can check it out at MayurWatches.com. And the other thing I would say, too, is that when you get kind of the smaller micro brands, you know, sometimes they can be pretty expensive because, you know, they're not producing the volume. They don't have the mass production capability. But in this case, you know, as a company that's selling direct to the consumer, they are very, very affordable. And I want to say that as a general rule, they are all going to be under 100 pounds. Now, you'll have to do the conversion depending on where you're watching this, but if you're in the US, 100 pounds can be about $125, $130 right now. But that's a steal. You know, in the $100 price point, there aren't a lot of really good watches, and there certainly aren't a lot of really interesting brands that you can have. This one is a really unique style. Like I said, just the dial itself is super unique and in a lot of ways. And then the color is beautiful, and it's just a polished, good-looking watch. I'm going to wear it with a lot of pride. Now, I also reached out to Mayur and did some back and forth, getting some information because I wasn't familiar with this. Sam, it was super helpful. James, I think, is the other founder. I didn't talk to him, but I'm sure all these guys are just wonderful Brits, and they are going to offer you a 10% discount on a watch if you want to order from them. I get nothing for it, but use my code Peter10. That's PETER10 when you check out, and you're going to get a discount, 10% discount on your watch. So I think that makes it even a better value. And to be honest, like I said, the delivery was very quick. You know, for ordering a watch from a company that's out of the country, I would say I had this watch from order to delivery, I think about 10 days, maybe 8 or 9 business days. Just keep in mind, it comes, at least mine did, it came registered mail. So if you can't sign for it, you're going to have to pick it up at your post office or pre-sign or whatever you need to do. But you know, I mean, it's actually come a lot faster than a lot of domestic watches that I order come. So really cool watch. Keep an eye out. I love when these small watch brands come up. You know, they're kind of founded in passion. Guys that are really passionate about watches and watch design and want to bring the designs that they have locked up in their head to the masses. And I think as a watch collector and as a watch enthusiast, we're all better off for it. So keep supporting these guys and other micro watch brands. If you know of some, let me know. I'd love to check them out and share them with you. So the Mayur Regal watch, love it. Peter von Panda, out.